almost every single year, I feel like though there is some innovation, and I think that is really where the good people become great. Is not only being able to understand what's going well in your business right now, but what is coming up in the future.
Mic check. I'm good.
Mic check, mic check.
You can read about success all day long, but if you don't put in the work, the mindset, execution, and the hustle behind your vision, it just remains a dream.
When everything goes wrong, you have to take all the responsibility.
We uncover what high-level entrepreneurs, business owners do to rise up from hustling daily.
So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances.
The world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
Join me as I share with you actionable tips to help you grow your business, learn skills, and help you level up in your self-development journey.
Your number one spot for business and personal growth is the Online Hustlers Podcast with your host, Esteban Andrade.
Every day I'm hustling.
We have right now a new episode of Online Hustlers Podcast. In this REI marketing and conversion episodes, the theme that we have for you, real estate investors, wholesalers, real estate entrepreneurs, agents, whoever is watching, and we're bringing in diamond players here every single week where you can learn and grab a lot of golden nuggets, diamond nuggets about every single one of these players because they've done things to grow their business, start their business, get some momentum, get something going for their business. And also they are just as a whole entrepreneurs. And we're going to have someone special here. His name is David Pupo. David Pupo works along with Jason, his partner, and they work in Florida. They're from Florida house buyers. And we have here David. Please, David, how is everything going with you, man? I know that I've been looking forward for this for some time. We haven't been able to do this, but now we have you, and we have to say hello to our audience. We have to say hello to listeners here. How are you doing, man? And like, tell me where you are actually doing everything that you do for real estate investing at.
Sure. Thanks for inviting me, bud. Yeah, we've had some scheduling conflicts, but I'm happy to be able to share the kind of value that we're bringing over here at Florida House Buyers with some of the other clientele that you're working with or potential people who are looking for additional marketing. What we do right now is primarily a virtual system. We use social media with you guys, and then we also have our in-house pay-per-click team. For pay-per-click, we are in Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisiana, and Georgia. And for our social media, we are only in Florida right now, but I'm sure we will be expanding out shortly.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So I really want to understand stuff because you're coming from a background where you've taken, let's say, call it in quotations, proper real estate education. All right, you've taken some great masterminds, you've taken some great coaching from different people. But if we were to backtrack on everything that you've done and just kind of go back in time, you at some point you were just starting. At some point you were just getting to know the business, and at some point you didn't even have a partner such as Jason, right?
Yeah,
So I want
absolutely.
to really hone in into like your whole beginnings because where you are right now is you just celebrated with champagne, 20 deals being closed in your first in your month of September. All right.
Yeah, no, unfortunately not closed, but 20 acquired. Some of
Right.
these, as we'll jump into, just take a little bit long-term strategies, but nevertheless, a great celebration to be able to get 20 properties under contract and impact 20 people's lives that are coming from a
Absolutely.
variety of different issues.
Absolutely. That I love what you're saying because you're actually mentioning a great word here, impact other people's lives. And you're talking about your clients. Your clients are homeowners. Your clients are people that are going through difficult times. So at the beginning, when you were starting out this business, how do you see real estate investing or wholesaling as a whole in order to really take it to the levels where you are? Just tell me a little bit more about your story of starting out.
Yeah, man. I mean, the amount of technology innovations with wholesaling since I began is through the roof. Back when I started, and I'm saying back like it's like a decade or so ago, I started doing this full time in 2016. And in that time, we were primarily doing, we were still at the tail end of the recession. So we were still getting a plethora of short sales. We were doing still some foreclosures. Marketing was direct mail and bandit signs at that time.
Oh wow.
Since then, it's allowed us, I mean, like I said, almost every single year, I feel like though there is some innovation. And I think that is really where the good people become great is not only being able to understand what's going well in your business right now, but what is coming up in the future that you could take advantage of is so critical, especially with how quick technology and the innovations are nowadays.
Man, so you were taking proactive approaches right at the beginning, or at least having a very proactive mindset towards your business, because you knew that this is a always changing business in terms of how you acquire your clients, how you acquire your customer, and how you actually fulfill for them, right? Like where you
Absolutely.
actually get to do stuff for them. And you tell me right now, when you started, did you start just focusing on wholesaling? And that's everything you would do, or how was it that you really started on this game?
I started with a brokerage that primarily focused on wholesaling at that time here in Orlando. And at that time, it was hustling, man. It was hustling. It was getting in my car, putting out 50 to 100 bandit signs every single day, building up a buyer's list. And at that time, it was siloed that people would bring you know, buyers to the table for the properties that were currently already acquired. Nowadays, as I'm sure we'll go through the system, it's changed for a lot of the better. But those are also, of course, humbling days where you're doing a lot more of the footwork, the grinding. Because now, as you get into a day and age where things are virtual, I do see people. I'll call them a little soft and don't know what to do because they're so afraid of taking that next action. And maybe it's just simply, as I've mentioned, just getting on your feet and taking some action. That was something that was in the beginning. Now we're at least in an opportunity where we don't have to do that as much, but it's always there.
Absolutely, man. And you started as a broker, so basically you were licensed, correct?
I started off with a brokerage. I am a real estate agent, and actually, coincidentally enough, Jason, my partner, is a broker. So yeah, we are both licensed.
That's great. So one of the things that I have learned very, very quickly this year and last year, the last years, is that um, wholesaling is is starting to take a little bit of a restrictive downfall by governments, by legislations, and things like that. And of course, you starting as an agent gives you definitely a double edged sword. Being licensed, making sure that you have a little bit slight edge over your competition, having different perspectives of doing that. But right now that it's being wholesaling is being actually legislated in different states, man, it's something that what you're doing is it's definitely is a way to calibrate that for the future, right? So like not being able to do wholesale in your state because all of a sudden then it's just restricted to only agents, then it's gonna make your your business and your future business just go downhill.
Yeah.
So with that agent, you kept the license and you've been doing also real estate deals on that side, or how do you
Mhm.
currently leveraging that in your current business?
Yeah. So the first and foremost thing with the sanctions that are coming across the nation, state by state, I think just this week, I think I saw Oklahoma was one of the new ones. If this stuff is coming up, that means we as wholesalers have done a disservice to people. And I think that needs to impact and have a great understanding with the people who are listening to this kind of podcast. If you're doing well for others, there's not going to be that kind of red tape that comes in. The problem is that things become predatory and you don't think about the person before you thought about your paycheck. And when that kind of perspective happens, that is when stuff becomes predatory. That's when people get taken advantage of. And then guess what? That's when they're writing to their local congressman, congresswoman, senator, mayor, whatever you want in any kind of government level. That only happens when you are doing disservice to the population. And I think that there are some people that need to be put into accountability. For the most part, wholesaling has a very low barrier to entry. You can go get some business cards from Vistaprint and call yourself a real estate investor. And I get it. Everybody starts at some place, but that's why I went to a brokerage and I got my agent's license because I always wanted to be held to a higher standard. And for the people who are realtors or brokers, agents, whatever, you kind of you understand that you've had to go through this. Hopefully you will have a code of ethics with you that goes into it. And I think these kind of things are going to keep on happening because people are being taken advantage of, and it's a shame. And we should never be in a state that people are being taken advantage of, especially here in Florida. There's probably an older population, and if you start becoming predatory with that older population, that's where the sanctions come in.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So one thing that you definitely understood is that you had a very uh, customer success, customer service oriented business that has allowed you to really make a difference on the people that the clients that you're serving, but at the same time on the ways that you are acquiring properties, which is because and making money. That's the main important thing here. Like you want to make money, all
Right.
right, and you've been able to do it in really creative ways and not just having one trick to the whole thing. And it's eventually, in a compound effect, be helping you to get 20 contracts locked up this month, right? And
Mhm.
now you're doing it in several states. So I really want to understand when you were starting out in the brokerage, you had the agent side and you had the wholesale side. But eventually, at some point, you learned there is really other ways where you can actually skin the cat and help your clients. Can you please tell me more about that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think in the beginning, people have to have some kind of caution to how many different avenues there are in real estate. I think I would be so much further along if in that first year or two, I didn't have shiny object syndrome. As you mentioned, yes, I was doing certainly some real estate transactions. And then I started realizing I didn't care for real estate transactions as much as I like doing the investment stuff. That stuff is what gets my mind going in the morning and doesn't shut it off until I go to sleep later on that evening. The agent stuff, I used to do new construction home sales for a very nice area. It's called Winter Park here in the outskirts of Orlando. And I just realized it wasn't for me. It wasn't the kind of people I like to deal with. I didn't feel like I was making as much of an impact as I was in the investment community. So then from doing that, I started really focusing in on the education. And then, and everybody says this, but there's a reason why a lot of people say it. Through that education, I started taking more action and I took more action. And then I had trials and then I had errors, trials and errors, trials and errors. As you mentioned, it's a compound. If you learn from those errors, you get to have a new experiment. And then that new experiment becomes a new status, a new platform. And you just build on top of that. Nothing is ever known from day one. You have to educate yourself and then you have to put that education into actual practice. You have to take the action on it so you can learn, okay, well, here's where we probably could have done something better, here's where we actually did really well. So you can't have that mentality of, well, I got to get this right the first time. In some scenarios, like maybe like somebody getting foreclosed on, you got to get it right the first time. I will agree. There are certainly those kind of scenarios, but you can't be afraid to try something new if you think it's going to benefit the person as well. Bring it back always to the people, and that's where we've had a lot of success. Is what does this person want? What does this person need? Not what I can pitch them. That's where everybody gets it wrong. Not a lot, not everybody, but I would say it is certainly the good to great thing. Stop trying to pitch what you have as opposed to listening to what they need.
Absolutely. So you really focus on exactly how you can really help and what they're going to get in return of working with you. A part of focusing on exactly what I'm going to get because it's really either way is not going to be a good way to uh, do business with others because they're just going to find themselves talking with someone that just thinks about themselves and you're dealing with people that have a situation going on that you don't know and ultimately when you get them get on the phone with them they they really are not going to express everything right away. All their pain or emotions or motivation that they have, you have to really build it up. You have to really extract it. And I think you
Yeah,
have created a really good sales team right now that are really responsible making that happen, because that's part of your core value as a company, right?
absolutely.
So
Yeah,
I
man.
do love that. Now, I know that a lot of people are really stuck at 3, 5 contracts a month. A lot of
Hmm.
people, they're stuck around that stage. You're already past that. Your momentum is only going to continue growing. It's going to be scaling up. But what is it that really have helped you and accelerate a little bit of that transition from this education that you've taken, from these mistakes that you've done that you just mentioned, and this, let's say, 5 years of real estate investing
Yeah.
experience?
Yeah, I would say first and foremost, you brought it up just 30 seconds ago. It's the people, the culture that you bring, the talent that you bring in is the difference. That's the number one difference. It's the people that you are the leader for. Those other scenarios, that's simply upping marketing, knowing what your key performance indicators are, your KPIs, knowing your financials, are all very, very critical things, but it all starts with the people first. Sir Richard Branson is notorious for saying, "Don't worry about anything else except for your people first. If your people are doing well, everything else is going to have a great ripple to it. But if your people are not treated well, it's going to ripple in a bad way to the other people. You're not going to have people who love what they do. You're not going to have people who are passionate about when they're on the phone calls, and you're not going to have people who are passionate about helping people. That is where culture comes in. And if the leader tries making it only about profit, then the people are going to only think about profit. That is why our purpose is called improving lives through real estate. We improve lives. That is so important. You have to improve the people's lives. That is where your value add is in any single transaction. Are you helping improve that person's life? If not, what are you doing? Right? Why are they not just listing it? Why are they not just going with somebody else? If you are making a difference in that person's life, if they feel like you built that kind of rapport and trust with them, that is where you get them. And that's where we have a great amount of success is having repeat people. We have people with portfolios that are working deals with us time after time after time. And it only happens when you do the right thing for the people.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, man. And now it has been given you a domino effect where now you can are going to improve people's lives in other areas that are outside of your comfort zone, such as now you're going to other states. You're
Yeah.
going to be able to do that in other states. I'm pretty sure you have built a disposition process that allows you to keep helping those homeowners in creative ways as well, and making sure that you also get money for your company to continue growing.
Yep.
So I absolutely applaud that from you, man, and from the team. But I also want to understand a little bit more. And for the people listening here, they are running multi state wide campaigns, uh, and the way that they're doing it is they are actually leveraging inbound marketing a lot. Okay, because you can, yes, pull a lot of different lists on different counties and states and different areas, but it's just going to be a lot of work. So they're definitely doing a lot of inbound. And not only that, but Mr. David and Jason, they're doing creative deals left and right. Tell me more about you starting out creative financing and how it really has helped you shape the future of your company.
Yeah, man. So you want to talk about trial and error? Trial and error has come from creative financing for me. It is something probably year two. There was somebody that was a local real estate investor who had a principal only kind of creative financing approach, and I did that course and didn't do too well with it. Last year, when this whole pandemic was hitting, Jason and I both thought of, well, what can we add to our current offer essentially to make sure that we are saturating every possible lead, right? So creative financing comes into play again. And we did it a couple of times there, and I was just like, something is just not 100% clicking. I was still doing trial and error. And then I got another coach and another course. And from there, this is 3 courses now, people. I want everybody to realize three courses that I paid for and coaches that I paid for on one subject, and that was creative financing. And that's where trial and error comes into play. Now, it's people calling it an overnight success kind of thing. No, no, no. It's been a lot of money. It's been a lot of time, and it's having the right people around you to have to ask the right questions. Then we can structure. That's where it all comes from. The creative financing has helped out the people. It makes it easier for our buyers to buy, and it also allows us to be purchasing more properties because we get more leverage.
Yeah, and and right now you are keeping properties as well, that are coming from from your pipeline, and these properties, I am assuming you're either buying and holding, doing Airbnbs, or whatever it is that you can do with it. But how's that working now? Tell me, like, from all the leads that you get, how many would you actually do creative financing?
Yeah, it always just depends on what the numbers are, where the property is located. I'm more prone to if there's multifamily scenarios, if there's duplexes. Not saying I didn't. I mean, we just bought one in North Carolina, but once again, very favorable terms where I didn't have to come out with much out of my pocket. Those are the kind of scenarios that I look for. What can I get the most squeeze out of? And I don't mind reselling them. It's funny, we get to a day and age now that, like, if you pass up on a creative finance deal, somebody thinks there's something wrong with it. There just sometimes you got to understand, I'm trying to also feed a wholesaling company as well as also creating a portfolio. So sometimes if I feel like something is just not the right fit for me right now, we're just going to resell it, and that's completely fine. I know that we're going to structure the right deal for the right person, and every single creative financing deal that we've had has sold it within 2 or 3 days. Heck, we just had one that came out. We sold it. We sent it out Tuesday, and it was sold Tuesday night, and it was full asking. But the property is gonna, it's gonna do so well for this guy. This guy is gonna have like about $700 of just margin to work with. It's a principal only mortgage that we negotiated, so that means it's only gonna go down on the balance. And by the time year 5 comes up, his loan to value is gonna be, if we just use current ARV, it's going to be at 63%. Now, what deals do you get that are like that in just only doing cash, that the house is in a dumpster fire?
Yeah, man, that is
That's
incredible.
creativity. You have to come up with a different solution.
That is incredible. And for anyone that would like to tag up or work with David and Jason, David Pupo here, um, you can find them on social media, and you can actually find them on the links below that we're going to be posting. If you like to start buying properties out of them, they're going to start doing a lot of business in Florida. If you like to start, doing the same type of marketing that they're doing that we're going to cover here in a little bit, you can also reach out to them and be able to see how you can actually start doing the same type of thing. But David is very open to really give a very direct response and tell you, hey, slap you in your face that digitally, I want to say it. Be like, hey, this is what you gotta do. And also, if you want to work with me, let's make it happen. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, that's a good way of putting it. No doubt about that. And what we've been able to also do, Esteban, is we've also built out that dispositions process where we can sell a property, I would say nationwide, and be pretty confident with it. But I would certainly say at minimum, the 5 states that we're in, especially Florida. Florida is still our bread and butter. So if the properties have good numbers to them, and you're maybe just short on a buyer's list, send it over to us. And our guy, his name is Enrique, who handles our dispositions. We just sold another person's property that they were having problems with. It was a city called Ormond Beach. We help people out with selling their other properties all the time. We understand that, especially when you're starting out, you got to focus a lot more on either building up a buyer's list or building the acquisition system, right? And so I understand that, having a joint venture, you're not getting the full piece of the pie, but it's better than trying to be greedy and then you don't sell the property and then you're at 0%. Then I mean, zero money made, and then you're also in a scenario where now you have a very pissed off seller, right?
Yeah.
So that is something that we definitely help out with plenty of people. And sometimes, heck, we do sell it above our asking price. It's happened a couple of times.
Yeah. For the all online hustlers that are listening to this, you have to really listen to what he said. He's built a really solid disposition property. Otherwise, sorry, disposition system. Otherwise, he would not have been able to really go out of his way, his territory, which is Florida, which is still his bread and butter. But now he's been able to go outside and be able to confidently enough acquire properties and get that property to a property buyers, right, in his wholesale business, and he would just keep some. So tell me, man, what really gave you the confidence in going into more of a statewide, and how what systems do you have to build out in order to make this happen? I just really want someone that is listening to this to understand that.
Yeah. This happens when you have a visionary and an integrator. So Jason being the integrator to me being the visionary of this kind of company. I'd be honest with you and tell you I couldn't probably build this out on my own. I had somebody like Jason who I met through a local RIA group that he had the same goals, but he thought differently, and that is everything. He's very systems oriented. He's very organization. He's very model proficient. Me, I'm a little bit more of the culture guy. I'm a little bit more about why we are here. I'm more about trying to help out our people with sales training. I'm more about being able to cast what the my name is entitled, the visionary. I have to cast the vision for the company so people understand where we are going. You can't understand point B if you don't know where point A is, right? So our point A, I have to let people know where we're at, what we're trying to accomplish, and how we're going to do that.
Yeah. A lot of people, man, here listening, they're by themselves because they start
Right.
watching YouTube videos. They get into the game here very early. They don't think about it. They just take action. They start getting some deals. But at some point, they're going to feel this just this amount of stress that you have
Oh yeah.
because so much in your business and you're by yourself.
Yeah.
So fortunately enough, man, you were able to find your integrator counterpart. Uh,
Right.
there is this book called Rocket Fuel. If anyone is really looking to find an integrator, whether that's a partner or someone that you hire and maybe share some some revenue, maybe share have a good salary or something, we really recommend Rocket Fuel. Is this how you actually picture having your business at the beginning, like having a partner, or how did that even happen, man? Like just an area event and that let's go at it and let's just do a handshake, or what was that going through your mind?
Yeah, yeah. I think you always have to stay very open minded because at a certain time, and I can almost guarantee anybody who's a beginner, you have a mindset of, I need to make sure I collect all the profit possible. And when you are acting from that kind of world, that's a little bit more of a greedy world. It's a scarcity mindset. I have to collect on everything because everything is so limited, right? And then at a certain point, as I was going through it, I was making pretty good money on my own, but I could see I was hitting my bandwidth stretch. And that is very, very important for people to reflect on. There's a certain, it's either you're going to stretch your bandwidth more, and that's okay. There's plenty of people that have done it without a partner. And so I don't have to say that everybody needs a partner, but I think if you find the right person that you feel like complements you, not is a replicate of you, a complementary piece of you, is what I've always told everybody is I didn't need a 2.0 version of myself. I needed somebody that thought differently. And just by happenstance, I found Jason. I would almost guarantee you, if I didn't find Jason, I'd still be a one man band. I just noticed that he was very complimentary to me, and we took a while. By the way, I want everybody to understand that if you do find somebody you want to consider a partner, take your time. It's kind of like dating, guys. I mean, it's a weird way of saying it, but I'm probably around Jason more than my wife. I'm around Jason 5 days a week, and that's literally from about 8:30 a.m. to about 5 p.m. at least. So I'm around him a lot more than I'm probably around my wife. So I gotta make sure people that I'm working with, I can be around all the time, and they could be around me. I'm sure I'm a pest sometimes too. So
If you are the wife, Please give David Pupo some crap. Hey, but hey, man, that's awesome nugget right there. I wanted to really understand partnership thing because look,
Yeah,
man, a lot of people they feel like so defeated, even though they're doing okay. Nothing is really happening, but they just feel
yeah,
so defeated with this bandwidth that they do not have.
yeah,
At some point, they need a partner, or they think they need a partner, or at some point they just need to hire.
yeah.
Uh,
And
and
that's something that everybody needs to reflect on. I probably didn't hit that last question you asked about how we got to the size. It was a who, not how scenario. We hired people. At a certain point, I was only handling when I was just myself. I was handling marketing. I was handling acquisitions. I was handling dispositions, and I was coordinating closings. I did have virtual assistants that helped me out with a couple of these things here and there. But at the end of the day, I had to make decisions on every single thing. There was no other way of coming around it. And I was only in 4 counties at that time here in Central Florida. And since bringing on Jason, and then we've hired more people, that is how we have been able to grow. We have the right people in the right seats, and we've been giving them the best tools possible for them to be able to be successful with. And that is how we went to go statewide with Florida. That was last year. And then this year has been going into these other states. And now we're at a point now where we just want to make sure that we are saturating as much from every lead that we get as possible before we expand out again, because I'm sure that it'll be an inevitability for us to go out further. But right now, we got to have that opportunity to sit back, reflect, look at what's going on with our data. Where are some areas that we can increase, but not having to increase spending? And I think that we're at that spot right now where we can do that. So that's going to be a big focus for me in the upcoming weeks and months.
doing those marginal gains, doing those little optimizations. That's
Yep.
great, man. So here I have compiled a little bit thoughts in the future of your company and how you're seeing the future of wholesaling too, where your company is. One, you have to definitely 100%. This is in any business. Have great people and build a culture where those people feel motivated in working towards the same type of mission vision that you have. The second one is that you're actually going here into creative financing and having creative financing as part of your offer to homeowners. Okay. You're not just giving up whenever someone says, "Hey, cannot accept your cash offer because my house is good looking, doesn't need much repairs or something." Okay. So you're not just giving up and you have an offer, you have
Yeah.
no way to pivot. And also, you're going away from just saturating one market and then just opening your arms with really big arms on other markets by systemizing your disposition process in other type of areas that you probably never going to visit in your life, which is other states, right?
Yeah.
And doing this virtually.
Yeah. I
You're
bought a property last week in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I've never been there.
you're never been there. All right, never gonna be there.
Never been there.
And now you're actually starting to close deals and in more areas. What are these benefits of actually going just other states, other markets that you've never really done? What are those benefits?
One of the biggest benefits is because, as you've mentioned, we're inbound. When we're inbound lead wise, if you stick to a certain small area, your cost per lead goes up. An easier way for us to be able to still get the almost, we probably get more leads out of the same amount of marketing budget. It was a natural progression to go a little bit further out. So that was probably the first benefit of being able to do that. The second, of course, is that we had the systems in place. So why not utilize it to its potential? If it's only sticking to one spot, I think it was just being a little bit more limited. So being able to expand down to those other areas has been a great benefit for us because it's driven our leads down. It's allowed us to think a little bit bigger as well, and we're helping out more people. And we're building the systems that we can, if we wanted to tomorrow, jump into another state.
Yeah, I think a lot of really big players in the industry, real estate investing industry, they cover the whole nation, and I'm talking about here
Yeah.
the big players such as the open door, the offer pad, the Zillow offers. These people that are
Hmm.
just basically just the big companies on that in this real estate investing world. And I believe that there is a formula for value. I've read this from Hormozzi's book. If someone ever want to read the 100 million offer, and the formula is very simple. Usually, people they like to really focus on how you can help your clients, let's say homeowners, on achieve that dream outcome, get out of that situation, helping them move away or just get cash or something like that. They focus on that, like they just focus on that. And also, they focus on increasing the perceived likelihood of achieving whatever it is that they have that they want, whether that's move away, have cash for the home, whatever it is, the perceived likelihood of doing some sort of achievement. But what people don't focus on in the formula of value is the time delay and the effort and sacrifice that it is required. So if you decrease that for your clients, the value becomes infinite. So the formula is dream outcome times perceived likelihood of achievement divided into time delay and effort and sacrifice. So what is actually Florida house buyers from David Pupo doing in terms of time delay and effort and sacrifice? Look, they're giving so much value to their clients, okay, that the time delay, they're decreasing it so much by not only having a really specific solid follow-up process, very speed to lead approach, change their clients. Like if they're the only clients in the world, then we need to make the best out of their client, and the effort and sacrifice on making sure that the solution is there for them is also being decreased. Their clients are currently having multiple offers, or their clients are actually having the ability to have options because everyone is giving cash offers. Everyone is actually just doing everything that they're doing, everything that everyone else is doing, and they're not differentiating themselves. So the value formula is right there. Again, dream outcome times perceived likelihood of achievement divided time delay times effort and sacrifice, all of that in the division part, which is a great amount of value that Florida House Buyer does. Now, you're able to do this because you have now built really great systems for you and your clients. Speed to lead,
Hmm.
all right, fast approach, options for your clients, great sales people, and this ultimately gives that value to your clients. Okay. Um,
Absolutely.
I think right now you have one of the one really great system to manage every single client, every single prospect that gets, and that is all by Salesforce. It's all done your Salesforce. You actually elevated yourself, and I'm gonna become a company that uses the best CRM in the world. What is it that made you take that step, man? Like I knew that you were doing fine with everything that you were doing before, but like now you're going to like a more systemized way of achieving the same thing.
Yeah, so we were using Podio before, and Podio has kind of been like honestly like my baby. Honestly, I had Podio from day one of doing wholesaling, so it was a very difficult realization. But as you mentioned in that formula for that $100 million book, by the way, I put that in my cart. I saw you reading it back on your air flight back here. Put that in my cart immediately. The dream outcome we saw was not with Podio. I guess is really the best way to see it. We did not see it scaling with us as we were about to go into those different states, and that's the best way to really put it. And we knew what always has the most bulk is Salesforce. Shout out to Stephanie. Stephanie is a really good friend of ours. Her company is called Left Main. Uh, Left Main has helped, and her team over there has helped us a tremendous amount. And we have gotten even more data than we've ever even thought possible. We're only in about month. We started it July, so we're only in month three, going into month three right now. So there's still so much for it to be able to do. But we saw what is going to help us scale up, right? And as you mentioned, that dream outcome, I'll bring that up again. I saw what you mentioned, the limitability on being able to just do direct mail in certain areas and SMS in certain areas, RVM where it's still legal to do it. It's not legal here in Florida. And then we saw what is going to grow with us. And so that's how we thought about the other marketing methods. And we knew that this was going to take a lot of cash, and it did. I do not want people to think that they're going to be able to just switch into PPC or social media and not be able to skip a beat. It's going to take up cash. So you have to make sure you're ready for that. Because on the other side of that is the more creative deal, the more time it takes to close it. And I think everybody needs to realize that as well is we do still primarily wholesale, but the more creative our deals have been, I mean, heck, we've been under contract on 2 deals, one since February that needed to get a probate done to it, and another since, well, actually June as well. Now I think about it. And that one is going to be our biggest deal to date, but it's just that there's just with the bigger deals, there's longer time frames. So you have to have a really good balance of being able to understand your short-term cash conversion cycles versus your long-term cash conversion cycles. And I think we just hit that and understanding the days to get to a lead, getting them under contract, and what the days to closing are for the different states that we're in, and also the different methodologies that we are using. So all of that is still now being collected in terms of data. So it's not something that just happens with a flip of a switch. And if it does, kudos to you, but you're going to hit some adversity, and I hope you're ready for it when it happens. Luckily enough, we really do follow that profit first model. If you guys don't know what that is, go follow that. Go buy that book immediately by Mike Michalowicz, Profit First, and understand how to split every single dollar that your company makes. So if there's times that you do not close on deals, you do not have to worry about, holy crap, I'm about to go bankrupt, right? That only happens when you are thinking ahead. And as we were expanding out into these different areas, as we were putting in more strategies, we understood that that was going to be a side effect of doing it. And it certainly was. And it came into fruition on some of these more creative deals. They just have taken longer deals, but we've been able to weather that storm, A, by making sure every dollar is split well, and B, being able to keep that undercurrent of still solid wholesale deals going on.
Man, I'm so pumped by everything you tell me because this is going to help a lot of you listening. Honestly, everything that he's spitting right now, it's a lot of blue oxygen fire. Like that center of the fire that is just blue is just right there. So
Yep.
in his business right now, he's getting deals done by PPC. So for example, this deal that you're telling me that is going to be the biggest deal app since date. Where are you getting it from? Well, what's marketing channel that you got it from?
Facebook.
Facebook? Oh my God, I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't know, man.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yep.
That is
That's going to
amazing.
come from Facebook. That was our second total. That was our second contract with Facebook.
There you go, man. That's amazing. Is that a 6 figure? Can you give me a tip? Can you give me
Mhm.
something like, am I hot? Am I hot? Am I cold? 6 figures? What is it?
It is going to be north of 6 figures. Yeah.
There you go. Love it. Okay, love it. So that's great. But you're also doing PPC, Google AdWords.
Hmm.
Are you doing the Google AdWords in the whole state of Florida plus the other states, or how are you handling Google AdWords right now?
Yeah. So that I can only speak in general. That is where that's Jason's baby is the PPC world, and that he keeps it. We keep it in house here, but we have separate campaigns for the state of Florida and as well as for the other states. So that's how we are able to spread that cost per lead a little bit thinner than if we just focused only in Orlando or Tampa or Miami or Fort Lauderdale or Jacksonville. If you only focus in metropolitan areas, your cost per lead just shoots straight to the roof.
Yeah, love it. So you're still doing in these localized areas in Florida. Are you still doing any cold outreach?
Yeah, we still do we still do cold calling. Cold calling has still been able to do some stuff for us. It's just it's a cheaper cost for us. So when we get deals done with it, it has an immediate ROI to it. And in those cases, I think we've only done like 3 or 4 this quarter, but I mean the ROI is a fair amount for those. So those are probably the only ones that we still do. We put direct mail on the back burner just for the time being. It's done well for us, but it's been a little bit more of a roller coaster, and it just has a little bit more cost than what we were seeing. So we just if anybody knows what Pareto's principle is, and it's the 80-20 rule. So every quarter, Jason and I go through seeing where the most amount of leads are coming from, where the most amount of contracts are coming from, and what the most amount of deals are closing and being funded. Where are they all coming from, right? And so as we have been able to reflect, we just started realizing we had an 80-20 with inbound marketing. So we pushed, instead of still feeding that direct mail monster, because that was still the most expensive one to the state. Instead of feeding that monster, we pushed it into all the other avenues, and that was PPC and Facebook and Instagram and all the other social media accounts. And it's led to us having less cost and then being able to be more profitable per deal.
That's amazing. So I think one simple formula to look at is, if you are going to do outbound outreach, and this same applies for any agency out there that is listening. If you're going to do any outbound cold outreach, you're definitely going to look at the profits. More work, more leads to go through. A little bit less motivated. You have to follow up really well with these individuals, but there's going to be profits. Revenue is going to definitely be driven by inbound approach. So one is profit, one is revenue. But now that we're going into a very statewide geographical approach, where we're actually expanding our geography, now we're changing the numbers, because the numbers now become smaller in the CPL. So that's why it's really important. CPL, by the way, it's cost per lead. It's very important to have a very open mindset on, hey, how can I make sure I decrease these KPIs or increase, depending on how you see it. And that's what David is actually is doing. All right, they're actually making sure that those KPIs fit on the criteria on revenue and profit, which is great. Okay, and that's something that you can get out of this conversation right here with me and David, Pupo. But David, man, how does the future of your company look like? What are you trying to do next? What are the next steps for you?
Yeah, still the goal is still to hit 7 figures. That's still the first and foremost goal. I hope that we're going to be able to hit it. Hope isn't isn't a strategy though, right? So we have currently waiting to close $200,000 in assignments. So we need that to happen, and then we need to have a killer fourth quarter for it to happen. But we're a little bit behind our pace, but that's still the first and foremost goal. Um, it's going to be going into, as I mentioned, probably into more states, finding out how to saturate more leads and build a bigger portfolio. Those are probably the biggest things that we're trying to do. I could certainly see myself being able to help other people that are struggling to be able to get their wholesaling operations going, being a coach to some other people, and then also being able to possibly come up with a course that's probably somewhere in the near future as well.
Hey, this guy, David Pupo, if you think about it, has gone through multiple mentors and coaches that he has compressed all this information into one. David is currently part of Sub 2. David has done work with Joe Dillon. David has done work with multiple other coaches and mentors that has helped him in very high level ways. And I'm pretty sure David's gonna be able to help you in such a way when he comes up with this
Yeah, man.
type. Uh,
Absolutely. And every single one of those people have greatly impacted. None of this happens without people. That's it, man. The employees, the coaches, the mentors, putting that all into action, building the right culture. None of that happens unless you have a great opportunity to reflect on what you need to do to get better. And who do you think can help you out with doing that, right? Don't be afraid to reach out to those people. That's the reason why they're there. Of course, there's something that's certainly to be said that in social media, I don't know when this exactly ended up happening, but with social media, people reach out, and I know other coaches go through this a lot, and I'm sure you do too, Esteban, a lot, where people reach out with only wanting something from you. And I can't tell you how frustrating that is. So people, if you're going to reach out to people, come up with something how you're going to be able to help them out or how you can provide value. Don't just try acting like you're owed something. You're not. You're not owed a damn thing. As he mentioned, I'm going to be very direct with you. You're not owed anything in this world. You got to work for every single thing. And the second that you feel owed is when that is going to all come crashing, right? You bring value to others. I'm super active in the other channels, as Esteban knows. I help people out all the time in the sub two communities, the creative financing communities, the local RIAs. I'm a board director and I don't get paid a dime to do that, right? I help others out. I don't want to think about what I can get. I want to think about how I can serve others. And when you have that switch, that is where real wealth comes from. So, be mindful when you're reaching out to people. And it's not that people don't want to help you, but you got to think about what your approach is. Just like you wouldn't like if you walk by them on the sidewalk, you wouldn't just berate them with these kind of questions. And I think that's something that always just drives me nuts is that the face to face and the actual human interaction has been taken away. And social media is a way that people think that they're owed something. And it drives me nuts, man, because
Yeah.
I can tell you the only way that I've gotten more value is by giving more value. It's never been from I need to take from you and I can't give you anything back. Even if you're broke, you can always help. I started off broke. I was doing bandit signs. I was volunteering at local RIA meetings. I was finding out how I can help people out, right? That's what you got to do. And that's when I started becoming more of a participant on some of these group channels and being able to be like, no, see, your formula's off here. This is where you have to go right with it. Or just I can't tell you how many seminars, summits, academies that I've been a part of that I got paid $0 to do when I knew I paid over $10,000 for the value I was given. I paid for that and I give it out for free. And I think people just like Pace Morby is the same kind of guy. And I think Esteban, you're the same kind of guy as well. A really good friend of mine, Nick Perry, is the same way. They pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and provide you with that kind of value. So return it in kind to other people. Pay it forward.
Absolutely, man. I absolutely agree with you, man. Because look, sometimes you're just walking into someone and just trying to ask them, hey, for help, because you really need help, man. But at least tell them that they have a nice shirt. At least tell me that the background of your office look absolutely incredible. And then you'll be able to at least start a conversation with me. Because if you don't tell me, like, who F are you? Like, if you don't tell me something back that I can contribute at least to me, or can make me seem that you're not just thinking about yourself, like, what are you doing? This is not the way that you approach something. And actually, that's one of the first principles in sales too. So if you want
Yeah.
to succeed in this business, absolutely you have to take that into consideration, because that's one of the biggest things they're going to be doing every single day, providing value to your clients, to your homeowner
Yeah, man.
every single day.
Yeah,
So
and you know it was crazy. It was earlier this year. Somebody that I knew through the local RIA here was reaching out to me and goes, "Hey, can I just sit down with you?" I was like, "Hey, yeah, you can swing by the office. Just let me know when you wanted to come over." And he's like, "Sure, it sounds great." And so we sat down, and I immediately got interrogated. Like the guy was just barraging me with questions. He didn't even actually care if he even asked like, "How are you doing today?" He didn't even ask that. He just went straight into like trying to get all this information and data and value from me. And I literally stopped and I go, dude, you just gotta leave, man. Like you didn't even ask me how I'm doing. You didn't care. He only cared about himself. And I literally go, don't send me any of your deals. Like, just don't bother. Like, I thought you were a cool guy. I've met you a couple times, but by you doing this and not showing that you cared at all to even ask me how my day was, like at least like that kind of common courtesy. I was like, dude, just please go and don't bother. Like I was gonna help you out with selling some of your deals. I know you didn't have a buyer's list at this time, but you know what? Until you kind of have a reflection time of how you can help other people as opposed to interrogate them, dude, I'm not in jail. I don't need to sit down and get interrogated. Please, just go. And I
yeah,
let him leave. And it was probably a rude awakening, but I hopefully it stuck with him that there's reciprocity. You have to be able to take and give, but where the ultimate real wealth is just give. You don't have to worry about a credit and a debit of life. Just just give because you can give, but at the same time, don't interrogate me. I'm trying to give you my time and help you out, but I'm not going to be strapped to a chair here while you barrage me with these questions. It just wasn't going to happen.
I love that, man. And look how this that's mindset that you currently have built a really great culture in your company where you're sending out champagne to your closers 2 months into working with you, where you're actually taking your closers to other levels, where you're actually setting really clear core values, where you are actually providing so much clear values and expectations in Facebook groups. I've seen you digitally slap people that are coming in like that in Facebook groups. I absolutely love that because you're straight, you're right straight. You're straight up and you make people realize how things really should be and how you have been able to truly be successful at this current moment. All right. I
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah,
have
and
not.
like I said, I just feel like it's just a scenario where people feel like they're owed as opposed to what they can give, and it just drives me nuts, man. Like I said, I mean, everybody that I know that I work with, that I employ, I even had somebody earlier this week asking me if he should jump into back into wholesaling because he went bankrupt on it. And then I asked him, "Well, why do you want to do it?" He was like, "I want to make money," and I was like, "That was the wrong answer, and I won't employ you." Like I told him I wouldn't even bring you into my company. And he
Yeah.
was so offended to hear that. And I go, the second that you said that you cared only about money is the second I knew you only cared about yourself. You didn't care about the people. You don't care about the culture. You don't care about the other people that you affected. You only cared about the dollar. And the thing is that you get the dollar by helping the people. That was the whole paradigm shift. Is that he didn't understand. He thought he got the dollar first. And I'm like, no, no, no. The people come first. They always come first. You
Yeah.
get the money through the people, not through just thinking that you're a good salesman. I mean, it'll work short term, but that's also how we got bounced out of wholesaling. Is he only thought about the money? And I think there's something to be said. As I mentioned earlier, I truly believe that the only way that these kind of bills and litigation comes through is that you're not serving the people right, and that's when it drives me nuts. Is because we lost the approach of understanding that you're helping people in bad situations. That's what it all comes down to in the real estate investment world. How are you solving people's problems? Not your problem of money, that's not how you grow a business. It's not just the only thing about your bottom dollar. You have to think about how you're helping the people out. And when I feel like part gets lost, that's when I get really mad because that's how all this licensing and stuff comes up.
If you ever want to work with David, you absolutely know now his requirements.
Yeah.
And also, you know exactly how he's been able to build a very great streamlined business along with his partner. Online hustlers out there, if you ever want to also take advantage of the ways that he's doing things, making sure that you are leveraging the same type of systems, the same type of processes, and learning from one of the best in the Florida industry, you may want to reach out to David. David, how do we get to talk to you if we were someone else? Like, how can people reach out to you?
Yeah, yeah. So you can find me on Facebook. It's just under my name, David Pupo. There's not too many of me here in Florida. That's the easy part about David Pupo with that last name. And then you can find me on Instagram, and it's just David Pupo, all undercase with an underscore after that. You can also email me. It's David at myfloridahousebuyer.com. So you can reach me out through all three of those mediums. And as I've already probably mentioned, don't just try extracting knowledge. At least have a common courtesy and say hi. I'll probably ignore you if you're just trying to berate me. I'll be honest with you. So as long as you understand that there's a reciprocity, I work great with people, but I also understand I don't have to tolerate people who just don't have the same kind of core values that I do.
Absolutely. If you're actually looking for inbound lead generation through online marketing services and leveraging Google PPC, same thing, Facebook ads, David Pupo is going to drop a link here on the bottom. If you're also looking for that systematic lead management system, there will also be a link for that for you to check it out, done by Left Main Salesforce. Has really been helping them scale. So this was an awesome show today. We covered a lot of REI, marketing and conversion, and we have a really great entrepreneur, but I'm pretty sure his future is going to look bright. He is super young, and his name is David. And let's go. Let's
Let's go, man. Hey, we're still going into the fourth quarter, baby. I'm ready. Let's go. This is where the money's made.
Let's go. All right. Thank you so much, David, for being here, part of the show, and thank you for all the listeners listening. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on every single channel that you can: YouTube, Spotify, podcast, Amazon Podcasts, iTunes. Download our show, and for you to have more diamond type of episodes like this one. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you guys for taking some time out. Esteban, thank you, my man. Hopefully we can help out some people, brother.
Let's make it happen. Bye-bye.
Every day I'm hustling.